Okay, today we're going to make from start to finish stepping stone. So we're going to use fast setting, high early strength concrete mix. The mold is about 2 1/4 inches thick, so this is good for 2 inches and thicker. The reason I'm using the fast setting is so that I can complete the entire thing in one shot. 2 items, larger items, or a bunch of small items. This way nothing doesn't get ahead of you, so to speak. Okay, while I'm doing this, I may as well spray some ham in there. Again, if you've watched our other videos, you know that sometimes we use this instead of light vegetable oil. Just put that in, spray that in, and wipe it around. If you don't want any puddling, we'll make sure it's nice and clean. Wipe out any excess. Any of the lower parts, make sure that there's no puddling in the lower parts or in the crevices. And that's pretty much it. That's now, as you can see, there's a very, very light coating on it. It's nice and shiny, and it's ready to prepare the concrete and pour it in. So that'll be our next step. Okay, we have the concrete, dry concrete in the 5-gallon bucket. Now we're going to add the green color. I'm putting in half a cup. As long as you're making the same thing, the same item, you can use a measurement like that. I normally would weigh it to be sure that I had the exact same amount if I were going to be making more than one. Other than that, you're really not going to be far off if you do use a measurement as opposed to a weight measurement. What you want to do is mix the color throughout the concrete before you add the water. It just blends in easier that way. Of course, once you get the water in, then you're going to see the true color of it. One of the things that you can use is a mixing paddle like this. Attach it to a drill. Don't try to use a battery-powered drill because it's not going to last long if you do. You really need the torque of an electric drill. A little depression in there. Put your water in. Dump in some water to get it started. You let it soak in a little bit. And just start mixing it. You want to get like a little wetter than maybe a toothpaste, more like maybe a pancake batter. You don't want it real watery. Obviously, the more water that you have, the more watery the mix is. The more watery the mix is, the less strong your, in this case, stepping stone is going to be. Okay, concrete is all mixed. It's just a matter of putting it into the mold. Dump some of this in there. A little on the thick side, but to be honest with you, I always like making it a little thicker rather than thinner because it gives you a lot more strength. Like I was saying earlier, water is the biggest enemy of concrete. As long as it's thin enough that you can tap it down and level it out, you're fine. As you can see, I probably overdid it with that half a cup of green color. And color goes a long way. To be honest with you, that's why we normally measure it by the gram scale and don't just throw it in. I was just trying to make it easier to make this video by figuring in a half a cup. Okay. kind of like a pizza, except you don't swirl it. And once you get it smoothed down and level, if you had wanted to, you could actually have made this into a plaque. I wouldn't make it pour it this thick, obviously. I'd pour it a lot thinner. What we do is just get a piece of coat hanger and cut it to this shape, or cut it to this size and put it to this shape, and wedge it inside like that. Cover it over real good, let it harden, and you've got yourself a nice wall plaque. So in this case, being that it's going to be a stepping stone, you don't want to have that piece of metal in there. And this is setting up a lot faster than normal, mainly because it's probably about 85 degrees, and it is a quick setting concrete. So this way, and now probably about 2 hours or so, I'll come back, we'll pull this out, see how she came out, and maybe even try to do a little finishing on it. And I'll show you how the easiest way to take a large stepping stone out of a mold. There's a little trick to that as well. Okay, we'll be back in a couple hours. Okay, the concrete is dry. As you can see, I've got some little pieces of wood here. Because of the three-dimensional design of the turtle, I thought it wise to put these in there to hold the lower part away from the ground, or away from the bottom, so it didn't push up. So I put these sticks like this in. I really want to consider that when you're doing a three-dimensional type of design. Okay, next step would be to kind of just loosen up the edges a little bit. Just press it down very lightly, back and forth a little bit. And then the key to make it easy to demold something this large and this heavy is to take a piece of wood. It doesn't have to cover the entire thing, but it should cover most of it. If you hold that on there, keep that together as you're taking it off of the table. Let me move that a little bit that way. There. So you're taking it off of the table, and then when you're going to flip it over so that everything is then on here. Lessens the chance of it falling out and chipping or whatever. Also makes it a lot easier on the edge. So you just pull it out like this, lift it up like this, flip it over, and put it down. Okay, lightly press all around. And it should pretty much just pop off now. A lot depends on how vertical the sides are. There we go. And there's your turtle. Quite honestly, we could have easily gotten away with maybe a quarter of a cup of colorant. This is way green enough for my liking. So I'm going to let this get hardened up a bit, and then probably do something with the top, just some kind of technique to finish it off. And that's pretty much it. Then put the sealer on, put it outside on your path. Okay, we'll be back.